Hello again and welcome to another Warhammer 40k Imperial Guard unit review tactics video. Today we will be looking at the Aeronautica Imperialis. Basically another sort of weird sub-faction that they've created for the Imperial Guard, I'm not sure why. But at the end of the day it does no harm and it's kind of cool. So there we go. So the Aeronautica Imperialis is basically the flyboys of the Guard, and there's some good news and there's some bad news, unfortunately. I'm just going to say it straight away what the bad news is. Guys, there's no more Vendetta in the Imperial Guard armies. Not in the main book, anyway. Not in this index. Now, the Forge World index has come out and the Vendetta is in there. So no harm done, you can still use your Vendettas. However, a lot of tournaments don't allow the use of Forge World. Now, I know a lot do, but enough to mention it, a significant amount don't allow Forge World, which means for some events you will no longer be allowed to use the Vendetta. However, when the main codex comes out, there's a chance it could be added back in. There's a chance. I think the reason Games Workshop has done this is pretty simple, and this has kind of been hinted at for a while now, considering the Vendetta didn't get the updated flyer rules in 7th edition. You know, when everyone got like Death in the Skies, whatever it was called, they didn't get. So I think that was the hint that it was coming, guys. Yeah, I think the reason they've done it is because Games Workshop doesn't sell Vendetta models off the shelf. So a lot of people use Vendettas, but the thing is what would happen is they've done this because they want to create a distinction between models that you can buy from Forge World and models that you can buy from Games Workshop. I don't know why they're drawing that distinction, but they are making it clearer which is which part of the company, basically. Anyway, that's it. That's the bad news. The good news is that the Officer of the Fleet has got much better, and the Valkyrie is actually pretty fucking good. It used to be overlooked massively in favour of the Vendetta. Now, guys, I can say with confidence the Valkyrie is worth your time. Very worth your time. Anyway, let's work through both of these units and then, you know, go over a summary at the end. So, Officer of the Fleet, basically he is the same as the Master of Ordnance, but for the fleet, but for your flyers. Now, he has Weapon Skill 4+, Ballistic Skill 3+, Strength 3, Toughness 3, Wounds 3, Attacks 2, Leadership 6, 5+, and he is a character, which means people will need snipers to kill him. Now, he just comes with a las pistol. He has no war gear options. He comes with a las pistol and that's it. So this is going to be pretty quick, I would say. He has two abilities. One is Air Raid Request, which means once per battle in your shooting phase, you can pick an enemy unit other than a character. So you can't use this to snipe characters, which is visible to this model anywhere on the battlefield, and roll a d6. On a roll of 1 to 3, nothing happens. On a roll of a 4+, the target suffers d3 mortal wounds. On a roll of a 6, the target suffers 3 mortal wounds. You may only call in 1 air raid per turn, regardless of the number of officers of the fleet you have. So, this is very similar to the Master of Ordnance. If we remember the Master of Ordnance that we covered, seems like an age ago now. If we look at what the Master of Ordnance has, he has an artillery barrage which can only be used once per battle, and is heavy d6, strength 8, AP -2, d3 damage. So basically the difference here is, guys, is do you want a guaranteed amount of damage? Do you want to guarantee you're going to be doing some damage, which is you take the Master of Ordnance because he has a heavy d6 weapon, so it is going to do something? Or do you want to have a 50-50 chance of doing some mortal wounds? That's basically what it comes down to. In my opinion, it's apples and oranges. It's personal preference. I'm not a big fan of one-shot wonder weapons anyway, guys. So for me, it's not a bit. I don't really care, to be honest. I think it's cool. You can call it a strafing run, but I don't think it's a big deal. His other ability is strafing coordinates. At the start of the shooting phase, pick an enemy unit other than one which can fly within 18 inches of this model. For the duration of the phase, you can re-roll hit rolls for any friendly Aeronautica Imperialis units that target the unit you picked. That is good. That is very good. That is better than the massive ordnance. Because the massive ordnance, it was a case of the enemy had to be over 36 inches away. And on a lot of battlefields, the enemy is going to be within 36 inches pretty quickly. So it wasn't very useful. With the officer of the fleet, he's got to get close. It's kind of the opposite. You've kind of got to get a bit close to use it. But that, plus a pair of Valkyries or Vendettas, if you go in Forge World, it's pretty good having reroll ones to hit. Pretty good. Although one could argue the same effect could be achieved by having the Valkyries in hover mode and them hovering around Harker. So this gives you a bit of... the reason why this kind of is better is simply because it means your Valkyries don't need to hover, which means they can stay hard to hit, which means that they can still reroll ones to hit without having to lose some durability. So there you go. Quick check on the cost of this little fella. Give me a second. Astra Militarum, points, costs, Officer of the Fleet, 25 points. So he's cheap. He is 13 points cheaper than the massive ordnance guys. So 25 points. If you're taking a pair of Valkyries, it'd be rude not to take a massive ordnance, is all I can say. 25 points, you can't go wrong. Now, let's move on to the main show, the main entertainment tonight, which is the Valkyrie. Like I said, it's had a bit of a boost. Its stats are movement 20 to 45 inches. It's got Blister Skill 4+, Strength 7, Toughness 7, so it's tough. It's tough as a Storm Raven. Wounds 14 and a 3+ save. Now that is nice. Now the model comes with a multi-laser and Hellstrike missiles. Keyword to note there, guys. The Hellstrike missiles are not one use only anymore. You can only fire one per turn, but you can fire them every turn. So that is a buff. That is a buff straight up. They don't just come in and do like an Alpha Strike now, but they do actually do something. You know, every turn they have a chance of doing something. But it is just one shot. The Hellstrike missile is range 72 inches, heavy 1, strength 8, AP -2, D6, roll 2 dice when inflicting damage with this weapon and discard the lowest. So that's kind of cool. So it's not, yeah, it's kind of like a basilisk, but you roll 2 dice to see the damage, not the shots. I guess it's kind of interesting. You replace the multi-laser with a las cannon, which you're probably going to want to do. You replace the Hellstrike missiles with 2 multiple rocket pods. Each multiple rocket pod is quite good now. It's had a buff. 36 inch range instead of 24 inch range like it used to be. Heavy D6, strength 5, AP -1. Now that's pretty good. That's very good actually. Yeah, Hellstrike. There's now, in the past it was multiple rocket pods will go home. Now, I think there is definitely the agony of choice there, because on the one hand you get the one shot per turn that hits hard and can do a reliable amount of damage, but you might not hit because you're only hitting on a 4+, and if you move you're only hitting on a 5+. So, but on the other hand you've got the multiple rocket pod, which you're going to get more shots. On average you're going to get 7 shots, but it's only strength 5, and it's OPA. It's only AP -1. It's only 1 damage. Any model may take 2 heavy bolters. I probably would. I probably would take the heavy bolters now. I mean, looking at the points cost for this thing, let's see what it costs to add all these things together. So the Valkyrie itself is 130 points. So that is expensive. The Hellstrike missiles are 20 points. That's 150, and the multiple rocket pods are 11 points each. So it's basically 20 points for each one. And then it's 8 points per heavy bolter, and then it's 10 points for the multi-laser, or 20 points for las cannon. So we're looking at 130, 150. If you take a las cannon, 170. If you take both heavy bolters, you're looking at about 186 points. So the Valkyrie is more expensive now, but what you've got to remember is all flyers are more expensive now. That is about the same points as what you'd be paying for a Lehman Russ, but it's got more wounds, and it's faster, and it's harder to hit. So there you go. And it can transport, guys. So just looking at the ability, vehicle squadron, normal. Airborne, this model can fly, hard to hit. When you're not hovering, it's -1 to hit shooting at this. Supersonic, that's normal, you know, your 90-inch pivot. Crash and burn, it explodes, it does a lot of damage. Hover jet, you can just hover, which just means you would do that, so you'd be hitting on 4+. The big one is grav shoot insertion. Models may disembark from the Valkyrie at any point during its move, but if the model moves more than 20 inches, you must roll a d6 for each model disembarking, and on a 1 that model is slain. Models that disembark in this manner must be set up more than 9 inches away from enemy models. So it's kind of cool. It means you could deep strike units you wouldn't normally be able to deep strike, and you're probably never going to go over 20 inches anyway with this thing, because vehicles can't fly off the board anymore. And if you do your pivots wrong, then you're just fucked anyway. What you've got to remember is this thing could go into hover mode and then move 20 inches and then drop people off. Now, I don't know why you would, but I'm just saying you could hover mode this, but if you hover mode then move, then whatever. It defeats the point, is what I'm saying. But anyway, that's pretty much it for the Aeronautica Imperialis. It offers the fleet cheapest chips, but not all that good. Valkyrie, much more expensive, but can dish out the hurt. If I was to be honest with you guys, I'm not sure how good a lone Valkyrie would be. But what you've got to remember is you can get one Valkyrie for about the points cost of a Storm Raven. About. Not quite, but about. And if you took 2 Valkyries for about 1 Storm Raven, then that's a lot of firepower. That's 2 las cannon shots, you know, potentially 2 Hellstrike missile shots as well, and then 12 heavy bolter shots, and using the officers of the fleet, rerolling 1s to hit. That's quite potent. Or if you want to go for anti-infantry, then you've got your 3 multi-laser shots, that's 6 multi-laser shots, followed by your 4 D6 multiple rocket pods, followed by your 12 heavy bolter shots. So I think a pair of Valkyries would work very nicely. I think one on its own, you'll struggle to see the impact of it. I think in the case of Valkyries, it's probably best, I'm not going to repeat myself, probably best to take 2 Valkyries, officer of the fleet, boom. Quite good. And of course, the fact that you can grav shoot without breaking your legs anymore is great. And that's really good for veterans. Dropping down a squad of veterans or a couple of command squads. I mean, you can put in a Valkyrie, a command squad, and a junior officer for each command squad, and you can drop them in and just be like, yo, here's my, like, all the flamers. Or, because, oh no, you wouldn't want to use flamers, would you? Here's all the plasma, then. Valkyries would be a cheat. If you were taking Valkyries and command squads anyway, that's fine. But yeah, I don't know. I think it provides you with options, but I think at the end of the day, the one thing that's sort of holding me back about saying that the Valkyrie is really, really good is the fact that it's kind of expensive for a gun platform, but it does work, but it's kind of expensive considering it's only hitting on a 4+. And for like an alternative deep strike option, you're kind of like, well, yeah, it is an alternative deep strike option, but why not just take Scions, which can do it anyway? You know? Scions are kind of almost too good at their job. However, what I want to say is, something I say with pretty much at the end of every one of these guide videos, if you run an army that's like airborne and you've always had like guys dropping out of Valkyries and stuff, and that's just your style of army, then your style of army is still going to work, and it's still probably going to be really fucking powerful. Because there are no bad choices in the Guard Codex anymore. Everything's good. Valkyries are still good. They're not a bad choice. This is what I'm trying to get across. It's just there are more efficient choices out there. But whatever, you know. If you've got an airborne force, if you like doing air cav, then I would say overall your army will have got better. Because whilst you pay more for your Valkyries, points costs have gone down in other areas, so it probably balances out. Because you're saving points on things like special weapons, but you're spending more points on your transports. So there you go. Anyway, guys, I know a lot of people will be dying for me to go over the Vendetta and to go over the Vulture gunship, which I have heard is insane. I will be doing that at some point, guys. But I'm just going to give you a little sneak preview, a little tidbit of information. The Vulture is heavy 40, and the Vendetta has 6 las cannon shots, and they both hit on a 3+, so they're really, really good. I will do a full covering of them at some point, but I'll do a separate run through of Forge World units at some point. Okay, but that's all you need to take away from that. The Vulture, I think the Vulture comes in at something like 180 points roughly, and that's heavy 40. And it's hit some 3+, so that's incredible. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Tell me what you have found with your Valkyries. I have yet to use one. I'm a little bit hesitant. Don't know how good they'll be. Tell me what you have found with them. Are they good? Are they bad? And of course, please leave a comment. And I hope you enjoyed this video. And I'll see you guys next time.